There are tremendous changes occurring right now in the enterprise compute landscape. And if you go back, let's say 10 years ago, there was almost nothing going on in the enterprise. That is, everything that was thought to have been invented in the enterprise 10 years ago was already in the ground. And there was a dearth of innovation occurring 10 years ago. And those were the times when, let's say, a VMware or Salesforce.com was just getting started, and they were actually finding it difficult to either get funding or interest because what they were bringing to the table, those companies were thought to be, irrelevant little side notes to the industry as opposed to the main thing. If we look at today, fast forward to right now, every part of the enterprise compute stack is changing. Cloud infrastructure is changing. Software as a service is changing as part of the enterprise stack. And mobile is bringing a new dimension to everything that's happening in the enterprise. And we see as part of this shift, what's happening is, for the first time in corporate computing, the IT department is no longer the sole center of gravity for how computing or applications are actually purchased. We see now that business lines, consumers, small to mid-sized businesses all have access to technology and compute cycles and applications that have nothing to do with the central IT organization. I can go from a mobile device and go rent a piece of a server for an hour and never go through my IT group. And that is profound. I mean, there is a profound shift from centralized IT to a consumer service orientation from the cloud. And what we're seeing is there are a number of, there's lots of incumbents that have played for many, many years on the IT side of the world that are going to find it difficult to move to this new world of cloud computing. And that in turn results in a number of opportunities for many new franchise companies to get built in the cloud computing space as a result of this shift. The ability for business lines, as an example, to pick and choose a variety of applications and a variety of services that are available from the cloud makes it an incredibly interesting time to be innovating and developing new enterprise infrastructure and new enterprise applications. As a result of all of this new innovation, we see, being on the VC side, we see just lots and lots of companies coming in, pitching phenomenally great ideas that are really upending the entire sort of enterprise landscape. If we think about where innovation will blossom out of this, what I'm calling the renaissance in enterprise computing, but this shift from an IT-centric world to a consumer-centric and service-centric world, first at the cloud infrastructure layer. Think about all the pieces in there, and these are massive. If you look at the IT spend on the sort of data center side, not cloud side, we have there's $600 billion of annual revenue spend in enterprise that is being shifted to cloud and self-service. So if you think about at the cloud infrastructure layer, things like storage, security, virtualization, databases, all of those pieces are ripe for disruption and new innovation as we move from a data center model to a cloud-oriented model. At the application layer, software as a service, because business lines and SMBs are now buying services directly from SaaS vendors, what I see is a tremendous innovation and blossoming of applications that are specifically dedicated to different business lines, whether it's a finance application, a marketing application, a CIO application. So companies are now being built to specifically address business line needs, as opposed to having a gigantic application that, kind of doesn't really work for any one particular department and has to be modified and all of that. I'm seeing very specific products being built for business lines, for market segments, which is incredibly interesting. So now, as a customer, I can choose an application that very specifically solves a dedicated business problem with an application that I might rent for a day, a month, a couple of months, as opposed to having to set up a whole IT department to buy something that never quite worked correctly in the first place. And then on top of that, the whole notion of bringing your own device and the whole mobile movement, which is really about the consumerization of IT, the entire notion of I have my mobile device, I have a tablet that I own, and I want enterprise applications and enterprise services to be available on my device. Well, that brings to bear into the enterprise a number of challenges, security challenges, performance challenges, compliance challenges relative to folks bringing their own devices into the office and saying, like, I just want to run the enterprise apps on there. So what we're seeing is there's innovation occurring at that level where companies are helping to enable the use of mobile devices and bring your own device into the enterprise, help enable that and help enterprises feel comfortable that that's an acceptable way for employees to do enterprise business.